going to record Tennessee Williams' play Streetcar Named Desire, and we shall be focusing today on Scene 7. Different roles will be played today by the players Tista, Arshi, and Rohit. Scene 7 begins in the late afternoon in mid September. The time marker is given in the stage direction. The portraits are open, and a table is set for a birthday supper with cakes and flowers. Stella is completing preparations as comes in, and a table is set for a birthday supper with cakes and flowers. Stella is completing the decorations as Stanley comes in. Stanley says,
What's all this stuff for?
Honey, it's Blanche's birthday.
She's here.
In the bathroom.
Washing out something.
I reckon so.
How long she been in there?
All afternoon?
Soaking in a hot tube.
Yes.
Temperature 100 on the nose. And you run out and get her oaks, I suppose, and serve him to her majesty in the tube.
Hello.
Set down her a minute.
Stanley, I have got things to do.
Sit down. I will got the tube on the your big sister Stella.
Stanley, stop picking on Blanche.
That girl call me common.
Lately, you've been doing all you can think of to rub her the wrong way. Stanley and Blanche is sensitive, and you have got to realize that Blanche and I grew up under very different circumstances than you did.
So I've been told and told and told and told. You know she's been feeding us pack of lizer.
No, I don't, and
Well, she has, however, but now the cat's out of the bag. I found out some things.
what things?
Things I already suspected, but now I got proof from the most reliable sources, which I have checked on.
Blanche is singing in the bathroom, a saccharine popular ballad, which is used contrapunctually with Stanley's speech. As we hear Stanley's speech, we
Lower
can
your
also
voice.
hear Stanley says,
Some canary bird herb.
Now, please tell me quickly what you think you have found out about my sister.
Line number one, all this squishiness she puts on, you should just know the lines she's been feeding to Mitch. He thought she had never been more than kissed by a fellow. But Sister Blanche is no Lil. Ha ha. Some Lil Sihi.
What have you heard and who from?
Our supplement down at the plant has been going through L'Oreal from year, and he know all about her and everybody else in the town of L'Oreal known all about her. She is famous in L'Oreal as if she was the president of the United States. Only she is not respected by any party. This supplement stop at a hotel called a Flamingo.
so we can hear Blanche singing blindly. She's singing.
Say, it's only a pepper moon sailing over a cardboard sea, but it did not be make believe if you believed in me.
What about the flamingo?
She stayed there too.
My sister lived at Blaney Rev.
This is after the home place has had slipped through her lily white fingers. She moved to the Flamingo, a second-class hotel, which has the advantage of not interfering in the private social life of the personalities there. The Flamingo is used to all kinds of going on, but even the management of the Flamingo was impressed by the Dame Blanche. In fact, they was so impressed by the Dame Blanche that they requested her to turn in her room key for permanently. This happened a couple of weeks before she saw the hair.
Blanche is heard singing from her bathroom.
It's a Barnum and Bailey world, just as funny as it can be. But it would not be make believe if you believed in me.
What contemptible lies!
Sure, I can see how you would be upset by this. She pulled the wool over your eyes and as much as Mitch.
It's pure invention. There's not a word of truth in it. And if I were a man and his creature and had dared to invent such things in my presence,
Blanche is heard singing from her bathroom.
Without your love, it's a honky tonk parade. Without your love, it's a melody played in a penny arcade.
Honey, I told you I thoroughly checked on these stories. Now wait till I finished. The trouble with Dame Blanche was that she could not put on her act any more in L'Oreal. They got wised up after 2 or 3 dates with her and then they quit and she goes on and another the same old line. Same old act, same old Holly. But the town was too small for this to go on forever, and as the time when they become a town character, regarded as not just different but downright loconuts.
We find Stella drawing back.
And for the last year or two she has been washed up like poison. That's why she here in a summer visiting royalty, putting on all this act. But she's practically told by the mayor to get out of the town. Yes, did you know there was a army camp near L'Oreal and your sister was one of the places called out of bonds.
It's only a pepper moon, just as funny as it can be. But it would not be make believe if you believed in me.
Well, so much for her being such a refined as a particular type of girl, which brings us lie number two.
I don't want to hear anymore.
She's not going back to teach school. In fact, I am willing to be bet you that she never had to idea of returning to L'Oreal. She did not resign temporarily from the high school because of her nervous. No, Sri Bob, she did not. They kicked her out of that high school before the spring term ended. And I hate to tell you the reason that step was taken. A 17-year-old boy she had gotten mixed up with.
It's a Barnum and Ballet world, just as funny as it can be.
So we can hear Blanche in the bathroom singing the song. The water goes on loud, and little breathless cries and peals of laughter are heard as if a child were frolicking in the tub.
This is
Stella
making
says,
me sick.
The boys dad learned about it and got in touch with the high school superintendent. Oh boy, I did not like to have been in that office when Dame Blanche was called on the carpet. I do not like to have seen her trying to scrum out of the one, but they had her on a hook good and proper that time, and she know that a jig wall up. They told her she better move on the some fresh territory. Yup, it was practically a town audience passed against her.
The bathroom door is opened and Blanche thrusts her head out, holding a towel about her hair. Blanche says,
Stella,
Yes, Blanche?
give me another bath towel to dry my hair with. I have just washed it.
Yes, Blanche?
she crosses in a dazed way from the kitchen to the bathroom door with a towel. And Blanche says,
What's the matter, honey?
Matter? Why?
You have such a strange expression on your face.
Oh, I guess I'm a little tired.
Why don't you bath too? Soon I get out.
Stanley is calling from the kitchen, shouting aloud. Stanley says,
How soon is that going to be?
Not so terribly long. Possess your soul in patience.
It's not my soul, it's my kidneys I am worried about.
Blanche slams the door. Stanley laughs harshly, and then Stella comes slowly back into the kitchen. Stanley says,
Well, well, what do you think of it?
I don't believe all of those stories, and I think your supplement was mean and rotten to tell them. It's possible that some of the things he said are partly true. There are things about my sister I don't approve of, things that caused sorrow at home. She was always flighty.
Flatty.
But when she was young, very young, she married a boy who wrote poetry. He was extremely good looking. I think Blanche didn't just love him, but worshipped the ground he walked on, adored him, and through him almost to find to be human. But then she found out
What?
this beautiful and talented young man was dangerous. What your supplement give you that information?
All we discussed was recent history. That must have been a pretty long time ago.
Yes, it was a pretty long time ago.
so Stanley comes up and takes her by the shoulders rather gently. She gently withdraws from him. Automatically, she starts sticking little pink candles in the birthday cake.
How
Stanley says,
many how many candles you putting in that cake?
I will stop at 25.
It company expanded.
We asked Mitch to come over for cake and ice cream.
Stanley looks a little uncomfortable. He lights a cigarette from the one he has just finished. And Stanley says,
I would not expecting Mitch over tonight.
Stella pauses in her occupation with candles and looks slowly around Stanley.
Why?
Mitch is a buddy of mine. We were in the same outfit together. 241st engineers were work in the same plant and are now on the same bowling team. You think I could face him if
Stanley Kowalski? Did you repeat what that?
you are gotten right. I told him I had have that on my conscience the rest of my life if I know all that stuff and let my best friend go get cursed.
Is Mitch through with her?
Would not you be if?
I said is Mitch through with her?
Blanche's voice is lifted again, serenely as a bell. She sings, but if wouldn't be make believe if you believed in me, the same song she is singing. Stanley says,
No, I don't think he's necessarily through with her. Just wised up.
Stanley, see through Mitch was going to marry her. I was hoping so too.
Well, he's not going to marry her. Maybe he was, but he's not going to jump in a tank with a school of shark now. Blanche, oh Blanche, can I please get in my bathroom?
Yes, indeed, sir. Can you wait 1 second while I dry?
Having waited 1 hour, I guess 1 second ought to pass in a hurry.
And she hasn't got her job. Well, what will she do?
She's not staying here after Tuesday. You know that, don't you? Just to make sure I bought her ticket myself, a bus ticket.
In the first place, Blanche wouldn't go on a bus.
She'll go on a bus and liked it.
Stella disagrees and says,
Mm,
no, she won't. No, she won't, Stanley. So Stella is protesting, and Stanley says,
She will go Pierce PS. She will go Tuesday.
and Stella now says slowly.
Blanche? Do you, Blanche?
So Blanche is seen singing. Stella slowly says, what will she do? What on earth will she do? And Stanley then says,
Her future is mapped out for her.
and Stella again asks, what do you mean? We hear Blanche singing at the backdrop, and Stanley says,
Hey, canary bird, Toots, get out of the bathroom.
so the bathroom door flies open, and Blanche emerges with a grey peal of laughter. But as Stanley crosses past her, a frightened look appears in her face, almost a look of panic. He doesn't look at her, but slams the bathroom door shut as he goes in. And Blanche is seen snatching up a hairbrush. Blanche
Oh,
says,
oh, I feel so good after my long hot bath. I feel so good and cool and rested.
Stella is sadly and doubtfully, she says from the kitchen. Stella
Do
says,
you, Blanche?
Blanche is brushing her hair vigorously and saying,
Yes, I do. So refreshed.
she even tinkles her highball glass and
A
says,
hot bath and a long cold drink always give me a brand new outlook on life.
she looks through the portieres at Stella standing between them and slowly stop brushing.
Something has happened. What is it?
So
Why
Stella
nothing
turn,
has happened, Blanche?
You're lying. Something has.
she stares fearfully at Stella, who pretends to be busy at the table. The distant piano goes into a hectic breakdown, and we can hear that. This is the end of scene 7. Scene 8 of Tennessee Williams, A Streetcar Named Desire, is set in the three quarters, just an hour later, the same setting. The view through the big windows is fading gradually into a still golden dusk. A torchlight, sunlight blazes on the side of a big water tank or oil drum across the empty lot towards the business district, which is now pierced by pinpoints of lighted windows or windows reflecting the sunset. The three people are completing a dismal birthday supper. Stanley looks sullen. Stella is embarrassed and sad. Blanche has a tight artificial smile on her drawn face. There is a fourth place at the table which is left vacant. Here we find Blanche. She is saying suddenly,
Yes. Stanley, tell us a joke. Tell us funny story to make us all laugh. I don't know what's the matter. We are all so solemn. It is because I have been stood by my view.
Stella laughs feebly and says, Stanley,
It's
It's
the
the
first
first
time
time.
in
Blanche says, yes.
it's the first time in my entire experience with men, and I had a good deal of all sorts that I have actually been stood up by anybody. Ha ha! I don't know how to take it. Tell us the funny little story, Stanley. Something to help us out.
I don't think you like my stories, Blanche.
I like them when they are amusing but not uh, indecent.
I don't know any different enough for your taste.
Then let me tell one.
Yes, you tell one, Blancy. You used to know lots of good stories.
The music gradually fades, and Blanche says,
Let me see now. I must run through my repertory. Oh yes, I love parrot stories. Do you all like parrot stories? Well, this one's about old maid and the parrot. This old maid, she had a parrot that cast a blue streak and knew more vulgar experience than Mr. Kowalski. And the only way to and the only way to hush the parrot up was to put the cover back on his cage so it would think it was night and go back to sleep. Well, one morning the old maid had just uncovered the parrot for the day, when who should see coming up from the front walk but the pitcher. Well, she rushed back to the parrot and slipped the cover back on the cage, and then she let in the pitcher, and the parrot was perfectly still, just as quiet as a mouse. But just as she was asking the pitcher how much sugar she wanted in his coffee, the parrot broke the silence with a loud and said, "God damn!" But that was a short day.
so she throws back her head and laughs. Stella also makes an ineffectual effort to seem amused. Stanley pays no attention to the story but reaches over the table to stick his fork into the remaining chop, which he eats with his fingers. And Blanche says, Blanche talks
Apparently,
about
Mr. Kowalski was not amused.
Mr. Kowalski is too busy making a pig of himself to think of anything else.
That's right, baby.
Your face and your fingers are disgustingly greasy. Go and wash up and then help me clear the table.
so he hurls a plate on the floor, and we heard hear
That's
the sound.
how that's how I will clear the table. Don't ever talk that way to me. Pig
Stanley
Palok
seizes
disgusting.
Stanley seizes the arms, yes, her arm, and says,
Don't ever talk that way to me. Pig Palok disgusting vulgar behind that kind of words have been on your tongue and your sisters too much around here. What do you two think you are? A pair of queen? Remember that Huey Long said every man is a king, and I am the king around here. So don't forget it. My place is clear.
we
You
find
want to
Stanley again. Stanley hurls a cup and saucer to the floor and says,
you want to clear your place. তো দেখতে পাচ্ছি না স্যার
Stella begins to cry weakly. Stella begins to cry weakly, and Stanley stalks out on the porch and lights a cigarette. The Negro entertainers around the corner are heard, and we hear Blanche saying,
What happened while I was bathing? What did he tell you, Stella?
Nothing, nothing, nothing.
I think he told you something about Mitch and me. You know why Mitch don't come, but you won't tell me.
Stella shakes her head helplessly.
I'm going to call him.
I would not call him Blancy.
I am going to call him on the phone.
Now
I
Stella
wish you would.
miserably
I,
says,
I wish you don't.
I intend to be given some explanation from someone.
So Blanche rushes to the phone in the bedroom. Stella goes out on the porch and stares reproachfully at her husband. He grunts and turns away from her. Stella says,
I hope you are pleased with your doings. I never had so much trouble swallowing food in my life. Looking at that girl's face and the empty chair.
she cries quietly, and Blanche says at the phone,
Hello, hello, Mr. Mitchell. Please, oh, I would like to leave a number if I may. Um, Magnolia 9047 and say it is important to call. Yes, very important. Thank you.
she remains by the phone with a lost, frightened look. Stanley now turns slowly back towards his wife and takes her clumsily in his arms. Stanley says,
Stella, it's gonna be all right after she goes and after you have had a baby. It's gonna be all right against between you and me. That way is that it's us. You remember that way that it's me. Them nights we had together. Good God, honey, it's gonna be sweet when you can make noise in the night the way that we used to and go at the colored light going with nobody's sister behind the certain to hear us.
"There upstairs, neighbors are heard in billowing laughter at something." Stanley chuckles. Stephen Ernest, and then Stella says,
Come on, back in.
she returns to the kitchen and starts lighting the candle on the white cake. Stella
Blancy?
asks,
Blancy?
Yes, yes.
she returns from the bedroom to the table in the kitchen.
Oh, those pretty, pretty little candles. Oh, I don't burn them, Stella.
I certainly will.
Stanley comes back in. Blanche says,
Ought to save them. You ought to you them from baby's birth. So I hope candles are going to glow in the life, and I hope that these eyes are going to be like candles, like two blue candles lighted in
Stanley is sitting down, and Stanley says,
Hot poetry.
Blanche pauses reflectively for a moment and says,
I shouldn't have called it.
There's a lot of things could have happened.
There's no excuse for it, Stella. I don't have to put up with insults. I won't be taken for granted.
Godman, it's hot in here. Hot with the stream from the bathroom.
I have said I was sorry these times.
the piano
I
music
take hot
gradually
bath.
fades out.
I take hot baths from my nerves. Hydrotherapy, they call it. You healthy Polak, without a nerve in your body. Of course, you don't know why anxiety feels like.
I'm not a Palak. People from Poland are Poles, not Palaks, but I am not at 100% American. And born and raised in the greatest country on earth and proud as hell of it. So don't ever call me a Palak.
So we hear the phone again ringing, and Blanche is rising expectantly. Blanche says,
Oh, that's for me, I'm sure.
I'm not sure. Keep your seat.
he crosses leisurely to the phone and says, Stanley says,
Hello, yeah, hello, Meg.
he leans against the wall, staring insultingly at Blanche. She sinks back in her chair with a frightened look. Stella leans over and touches her shoulder. Blanche says,
Oh, keep your hands off me, Stella. What is the matter with you? What do you look at me with the pitying look?
Stanley Bowling says.
Quotes in it, there. Uh, we have got a noisy woman on the place. Oh God, make at Rickly, not I am want to blow. Rickly, I had a little trouble with Rickly last night. I am blow a Rickly. We are gonna blow at the west side or the Gula. All right, Mick, see you.
So he hangs up and returns to the table. Blanche fiercely controls herself, drinking quickly from her tumbler of water. He doesn't look at her, but reaches in a pocket. Then she speaks slowly and with false amiability. The speech
Sister
continues.
Blanche, I had got a little birthday remember for you.
Blanche says,
Oh, have you, Stanley? I wasn't expecting any. I don't know why Stella wants to observe my birthday. I had much rather forget it. When you reach 27, well, age is subject that you had preferred to ignore.
27.
Blanche quickly says,
What is it? Is it for me?
and then he is holding a little envelope towards her. Stanley says,
Yes, yes, I hope you like it.
Why it's a
Ticket book a royal on the Greyhound Tuesday.
the Varsoviana music steals in softly and continues playing. Stella rises abruptly and turns her back. Blanche tries to smile. Then she tries to laugh. Then she gives both up and springs from the table and runs into the next room. She clutches her throat and then runs into the bathroom. Coughing, gagging sounds are heard. And after saying, well, Stella says,
You did not need to do that.
Don't forget all that I look of her.
You need not have been so cruel to someone, Alan, as she is.
Delicate place she is.
She was. You did not know Blanche as a girl. Nobody was tender and trusting as she was. But people like you abused her and forced her to change.
he crosses into the bedroom, ripping off his shirt and changes into a brilliant silk bowling shirt. She follows him.
Do you think you are going bowling now?
Sure.
You are not going bowling.
She catches hold of his shirt.
Why did you do this to her?
I done nothing to no one. And let go of my shirt. You have done in.
I want to know why. Tell me why.
When we first meet and you thought I was a common. And how right you was. Baby, I am a common as that. And you showed me the snapshot of the place with the columns. I pulled you down of them columns and how you love it. And having you having them color light going is and was not we happy together. Was not it all okay? Still, she showed here.
Stella makes a slight movement. Her look goes suddenly inward, as if some interior voice had called her name. She begins a slow, shuffling progress from the bedroom to the kitchen, leaning and resting on the back of the chair, and then goes on the edge of a table with a blind look and listening expression. Stanley, finishing with his shirt, is unaware of his reaction.
And was not we happy together? Was not it all okay? Still, she showed here that Holly totally describing me as an ape.
He suddenly notices the changes in Stella,
Hey, what is it still?
and he crosses to her. Stella quietly says,
Take me to the hospital.
he is with her now, supporting her with his arm, murmuring indistinguishably as they go outside. So, this is the end of scene 8 of Tennessee Williams's play a streetcar named Desire. Thank you very much.